But as mentioned before, we are going to get into our transactions ahead of week 3. Specifically, who are we streaming at the quarterback position? And we're going to start off with Jared Goff. This is my list. Jared Goff, who plays the Vikings, Ryan Tannehill against the Raiders, and Joe Flacco against the Cincinnati Bengals. Jared Goff, I think, is the easy one. This offense has been playing pretty well so far. And if you watched Monday Night Football last night, the Minnesota Vikings defense looked atrocious. The offense, I'm just going to go ahead and say that primetime Kirk shouldn't be a surprise at this point in our lives anymore. I'm not going to necessarily start killing the offense quite yet, but the defense was a significant issue and one that I'm willing to go ahead and attack at this point, especially with how many weapons the Lions have and how that offense has been playing. I think that Jared Goff right now is a great streaming quarterback in a lot of matchups. Ryan Tannehill is another guy who hasn't always performed the best in his big games. Also, I just think the Bills are kind of a meat grinder right now. This isn't something where, as much as I am biased against the Titans, I'm not going to kill Tannehill for how awful last night went. So with the matchup against the Raiders, which is a defense that hasn't been playing particularly well, I'm willing to give Tannehill the benefit of the doubt and run him out there. See what we have. My last one, Joe Flacco. The Bengals defense have made Cooper Rush look pretty good. And also Trubisky had a much better game against Cincinnati than he did, last week. So while there hasn't been big games led up by Cincinnati, they have failed to really punish teams trotting out replacement level quarterbacks. And so while Joe Flacco is a replacement level quarterback, he's a replacement level quarterback with a lot of momentum right now. And I think he certainly has the ability to at least get you to the upper teens, low 20s. And even if he can't carry through his momentum, because the Bengals defense just hasn't been capitalizing on mistakes of other teams, much well at all. So Chris, on to you, who we are sharing one guy and one guy only, and that is Jared Goff.
Yeah, well, we're sharing Jared Goff because Jared Goff's the guy we kind of talked about last week. One of the key things in fantasy, and I think that the NFL gods smile on offenses in general: creativity and pace. And Detroit uses both those things. Jared Goff's a beneficiary. He might be a great quarterback. He's a good point guard. He has talent around him. He's going to get more talent with Jameson Williams down the road. Jared Goff might be a guy you can stream right now. And let's talk about the Burst Vikings, whose defense is suspect at best. Also, a team that likes to play with pace. So a game that has a chance to be a shootout and a high-paced game. And the guy maybe hold on to for long of that, because Jared Goff might be something this year. People want to write him off. But this isn't the Sam Darnold situation from last year, where Sam Darnold started off the season as a fantasy darling and kind of let up as the season progressed. Jared Goff might be able to continue to do this for a while. Marcus Mariota is the other guy we do share, though, too. We shared two guys on this list. You didn't have Marcus Mariota. I'm sorry, you didn't have him on this list. This is a guy that took the last offense before. We talked about Mariota last week. The guy that you're not owning and necessarily as a backup, I think is a good backup option. Period. Him similar to Goff, are two guys I think that people overlooked because they kind of flared out somewhere else, but they were 4-1 talents. They were able to produce fantasy wise. I love Arthur Smith, his creativity. I was kind of disappointed Atlanta in general, kind of with offensive what they did, but I think they have a lot of things they're working with, and they're going to continue to kind of unfold their playbook and find their timing. I think Mariota's kind of been a beneficiary of that. I like the aggression so far from him. I think that he's pushing the ball more than I saw kind of in Tennessee, so they've rewarded overall. And a team that's looking to get more pace. So once again, Mariota's got you can play this week to save legs. I didn't really play as much as he had week one, but you still think that you're probably one of the guys who's going to use more often than not. And then a team that's kind of, like I said, needs to score points. Then finally, Trevor Lawrence. Last year I used to shit on Jacksonville every week I could, basically. Other than James Robinson, it was like, who in Jacksonville can we get this week? Was it going to be Jamal Agnew? Was it going to be Chanel? Was it going to be Marvin Jones? Or was it going to be whoever they threw out? They were trying to find something relevant fantasy-wise. Trying to even look at Trevor Lawrence at some point, and nothing seemed to kind of stick. Well, this year, as I talked about pace and creativity, Doug Pearson kind of brought both of those things to his offense. Trevor Lawrence is the beneficiary of it, and he's been able to kind of have a floor. We haven't seen the ceiling per se. We wait for this to kind of break out. But he was very efficient last week, and if Trevor Lawrence is going to be efficient and able to kind of spread the ball around to multiple guys, including Christian Kirk, who seems to be clearly his number one guy, as multiple guys using the backfield, playing a Chargers team this week that needs to score points and is going to score points, loves to play with pace once again. So this is a Trevor Lawrence guy that maybe be waiting for the breakout moment to come, and even a safe floor because he kind of used a little bit of everything and it's been consistent the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think these are all great picks. Mariota is one I didn't have on my list, but certainly one who I think is a great option. Trevor Lawrence as well. If you can get him off of streaming, that's certainly a guy that he's doing better this year. Has Kirk playing really, really well right now. Kirk is a bona fide, like, great fantasy player right now. A lot of people had pushed him down just because of the narrative around his contract, but Jacksonville definitely a little bit better off this year.